Haritha TV is an award-winning TV channel working primarily in the sustainability sector, especially focusing on sustainable agriculture and also marine protection. So today we have a very engaging and very illustrious conservationist here today, all the way from India, who's come to Sri Lanka. He has an incredible background of over 20 years, having worked in the marine sector, especially in conservation of dugongs. And he's here today to do some incredible work with some Sri Lankan partners. So we'd love to hear about his journey, Dr. Balaji Vedhrajan, and learn a bit more about what his work is, and also about his future goals in the country. So Dr. Balaji has gained many awards throughout the years, and he has been a part of the Nat Geo Conservation Award as well as IUCN, and he has been working a lot on conservation of seagrass as well as marine mammals. So Dr. Balaji, welcome.
Thank you.
Dr. Balaji, would you like to tell us a bit about the work that you have been doing in India and what you are here to do here in Sri Lanka?
Yes, I started my career in 98 when I was a teenager. I got some interest to study marine plants. Then gradually I got more interest on underwater photography. Then I studied masters and PhD in seagrasses. At the same time, when I was doing my PhD, I started an NGO to share the beauty of our oceans and coast to the local community, and this is called Omkar Foundation. It's an organization for marine conservation awareness and research. This organization mainly focus on conservation of dugong, seagrass and mangroves, and so for conserving the dugongs, we started to create awareness among young people, students and fishermen. And the fishermen actually considered the dugong as a delicious meat. They considered it as a fish, one of the fish, but it is not actually fish. It's a marine mammal, and it is closely related to elephants. And the dugongs are vulnerable species as declared by IUCN all over the world. So the dugongs living between India and Sri Lanka, they are genetically distinct from the population that are living in other countries. So they cannot move out of Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar, because we have south side the big Indian Ocean, other side is the Bay of Bengal. And both India and Sri Lanka has the responsibility to protect the animals. The reason is once there was thousands of dugongs living in our coastal areas. Now we have less than 150 dugongs living in between India and Sri Lanka. So our organization has been focused on helping the local stakeholders to understand it's not a fish, it's a marine mammal, and it took nearly 17 years of work on the ground with government, young people, as well as with the fishermen. So the fishermen are now in our area. They are turned themselves from the dugong hunters to dugong saviors. So the successful rescue and release of dugongs is happening there. It's because of government of India efforts, Wildlife Institute of India, and on the field, our organization has been working closely with fishermen. So this is our organization. Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Balaji. Just to add more context, it's incredible the work that you have been doing all these years. You said 17 years, and that's a long time. Would it be possible to maybe share a bit about the work that you also intend to do here in Sri Lanka? Because you've come all the way from India, and you also mentioned the uniqueness of the ecosystem, especially in the Park Bay. Would it be possible to hear a bit more about that?
Yes, Park Bay is one of the most incredible ecosystem I ever seen. I traveled up to 14 countries, and whenever I come back to Park Bay, I feel I'm more connected with Park Bay. The Park Bay is a shallow water body. It's around 13,000 square kilometer, and maximum depth is 10 meter. So it's like a big bowl of various marine fishes, It's like a very shallow water body. So it is a home to different species of fishes, different species of shrimps, marine mammals, including dugongs, and we have also porpoise, endangered marine species, the sea turtles, that is green turtles. The sustainability of this parkway actually will decide the income and sustainability of the entire coastal communities living on both sides. So it is our responsibility between India and Sri Lanka. There is a responsibility to keep this ecosystem as alive, so that in our words we call it Amruta Surabhi, and that is a bowl that gives rice continuously, but we have to keep it safe. And so we have to keep this space from over exploitation. And this parkway, if we cannot provide any other sources to these fishermen community other than fishery based income. So the only way is we have to let the place be safe and to harvest the fishery resources in a sustainable way. That will help also to improve the economy. For example, I can say the flower shrimp is one of the delicious export. In Parkway there is a shrimp called flower shrimp. It has a high export value. In USA, this shrimp is considered as one of the delicious food. And we also have Indian salmon in Parkway. And why the Parkway is so rich than you can see Bay of Bengal is bigger, and you can see Indian Ocean. The reason is that it is very shallow. That means sunlight easily enter into the surface of the sea floor, which means it offers a growth of different kinds of plants. They are called sea grasses and algae, that is seaweeds. So these sea grasses, seaweeds actually serving as a feeding and breeding grounds for different species of fishes, shrimps, and you can see this cuttlefish, the delicious calamari that we eat, and all are produced naturally in Parkway. So and if you say the sustainability in terms of farming, if you say farming as sustainability, that the farmers have to work very hard, and they will harvest after 3 months or 5 months. But imagine in the sea there is no such hard work needed. We are just directly harvesting the products. We are not growing there. We are not growing any fish in the sea. We are harvesting. So when we harvest the fishery resources, and we also have to respect the animals that are living in that ecosystem. Why we have to give importance to those animals, sea cows? Because the sea cows eats up to 40 to 50 kg of seagrass every day, which means a lot. And as average elephant can eat up to 100 to 150 kg. But the sea cows can eat up to 40 to 50 kg. This means, and they are like eating lots of seagrass and processing the seeds in the stomach, and whenever they release their waste, and it spread on the sea floor. So these seeds, like a processed seeds in agriculture, and they are naturally spreading all over the sea, and new plants are growing. When there is more plants are growing, which means this there is a higher productivity of finfishes, shellfishes, that is directly turned into income to the country, and it also increases the overall export from each country. So my purpose of visit is to directly request and work and support the NGOs, government here, and the volunteer and young people to tell about the dugongs and sea cows, and why it is important, and why it has to be protected, and what kind of action needed, based on the 20 years of experience that I had in other side of Parkway. So I believe that there is a collective effort needed for good progress for both sides.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Balaji. You made some very interesting insights and observations, and one of them is how important even for sustainability and even sustainable agriculture, because sometimes you have these very bad chemicals that come from agriculture that get into the water streams. And as you mentioned, even with the Pork Bay, with that very sensitive ecosystem, these effluents can very badly harm that ecosystem as well. And even from an export point of view, the importance of the species there, and even for the regrowth of the seagrass. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about maybe organizations that you're working with here in Sri Lanka, and what maybe your future steps and goals are as well?
Yes, so the NGOs working in Sri Lanka already have expertise and experience and very good track record on environmental conservation. For example, the sea turtle conservation in Sri Lanka is well known to all over the world, and the sea turtles tagged using the GPS in Sri Lanka are actually coming to Gulf of Mannar in Indian side for feeding. Which means they are moving in between. So it is important to collaborate with the local NGOs. So we signed an MOU with the Sri Lankan organization EMACE Foundation, and we know each other for the past 17 years. Who EMACE Foundation has been working for mangrove conservation and philanthropic services for the past many years. So we collaborated with the EMACE Foundation. So it is a starting point, and it will offer the exchange of knowledge exchange between the organizations, and the experts between India and Sri Lanka can discuss together, so that there is a collective decision making, and there is a positive output of how to manage sustainably and the only water that we have in between our countries, that is Pork Bay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Balaji. Could I maybe hear a little bit more and understand a bit more about that success story you mentioned, which was about turning the hunters to the saviors?
Yes, dugongs actually once considered as a delicious meat in our side, because they considered as an avuriya fish. In Tamil they called avuriya. A means pasu, that is cow, and uriya means the shape. It is in the shape of, so it is avuriya. But at the same time they called avuriya fish, that is avuriya mean. For example, some 40-50 years before, these dugongs have been hunted by traditionally, and they used for human consumption as a food. If a dugong was caught in a fishing net, so the entire village celebrate, because it's a naturally it's a high fat content, so the entire village share with them, and they used to eat it. But when we started this NGO, there was lack of awareness. It's among the different stakeholders, not only in the fisherman community. So I was young, with around 26, 27, with lots of questions about how to start and where to start. So we worked with the young people, the school students and college students, to tell the people that dugongs are not just a fish, and they are marine mammals. They have friends and relatives in the sea. Whenever you hunt the dugong, that means the baby, if you hunt the baby, the mother will cry, and if the relatives of every dugong will feel, and even the traditional fishermen used to tell us, if dugong was hunted in the sea, and the relatives of the dugongs will move around this area for 16 days. So when the baby dugong was taken into the boat, and the mother dugong used to follow the boat for 5-6 kilometers, and the baby was crying like a human baby. So in Australia was also proved that when the shark was try to attack a dugong baby, the mother went out fast, and she pushed the mother and the sharks on the seaside, and by showing her body toward the shark to bite. So they are the animal that has the communication in between them. Such information we continuously passed on to the generation. Imagine, we started in 2007. The children, I talked to them in 2007, or now in 2024. They are young fishermen now. So what happened is, gradually after 2016, Government of India come with a big dugong conservation project through Wildlife Institute of India, and they started to provide scholarships, fellowship to school students, and whoever release the dugongs, they started to give compensations. That is not compensation, that's a reward. So we as a small NGO, we also started to build a goat bank. You may ask a question that what is the relationship between a goat and a dugong that lives in the sea? As an NGO, we don't have big money, but we actually try to build a goat bank. So every rescue and release of dugongs, we used to donate the goat to the fisher family. So after few months or 1 year, and the goat breeds, and the young goat again getting back from that family and donated to other families who rescue and release the dugongs and turtles. So gradually it became a social behavior that fishermen got appreciated. Then in 2017 onwards, with the government of India and government of Tamil Nadu and Forest Department, we organized organized in a big stage. So it's same like a big wedding or big reception or any other. So we built a big stage, and I invited higher officers and recognized these fishermen in a stage and give the rewards. So it set an example. So gradually the replication of rescue and release of dugong happening in our coast. This model may be customized in Sri Lankan coast. It cannot fit everywhere because our coast, in our side, it may be different, but at the same time, the rescue and release of dugong and the compassion and the love of dugong in the heart of the people has to be implanted deeply from young people to everyone. Not only dugongs, and every animals that lives in the sea, it has its own rights to live there, and they have no space to go from here. And so so that is why as an organization, after working several years there, and I contacted EMIS Foundation and other organizations, Beer Foundation in Sri Lanka, and so I come here and meet the experts and discussed with and signed an MOU, and with the positive expectation and the dream that the dugongs actually can be protected in Sri Lanka as well. Just let me to answer why I protect the dugongs in India, but why I come here in Sri Lanka. Because it's only the water between India and Sri Lanka. There is a migration of dugong. There may be a migration of dugong in between, because it is scientifically proved by a peer-reviewed journal that a dugong can move up to 600 kilometers per day, which means Park Bay is just maximum 70 kilometer width. So the dugongs belongs to the Park Bay are may be moving frequently in between the spaces. Why they move in between the spaces? Because one is foraging ground, one is for safer with children. For example, a mother dugong, if a dugong is pregnant, and it used to search a safer place, shallow, for giving birth. Then it has to come to another place for feeding the young dugong. Yes, it's a very important information, sir. The young dugong, if the newly born young dugong, it has to actually learn swimming. Like any babies, we teach how to walk, and so in the water they have to come up to the surface to take a breath and go down to eat the seagrass. So the mother used to carry the dugong baby always around her, sometimes on the back, and take her to the very shallow waters. And there are 14 species of seagrass we have, and the smallest seagrass is very soft, and the largest seagrass is more fiber. Imagine when we give the food to the children, the very 6 months old kids, and mother used to give very soft food, like so the dugongs gives this smallest seagrass, that is a very small one, and this Holophila oval is Holophila. So this is growing in the very shallow waters in Sri Lanka and India. That's very important. And another seagrass is a little bit bigger, and when it grows, it changes the feeding. That's why the dugongs are moving between India and Sri Lanka for food, for shelter, and as well as for breeding. So it is important that we protect on both sides. In India, it is officially declared as India's first dugong conservation reserve in our side. At the same time, in Sri Lanka, there is a lots of potential for dugong conservation. So I just come here to serve for dugong conservation, to work with people and experts.
Thank you, Dr. Balaji. We'd love to also understand, in terms of, for example, climate change, global warming, do these events also have an impact on the population of the dugongs and the seagrass?
Yes. So when there is a slight increase in temperature, it will also affect the seawater quality, and it will also increase the sea level rise on the shorelines. Imagine there are 14 species I mentioned, so not all species growing in single place. Like in forest, the plants will grow in some places, bigger trees in other place. So it is called zonation. So the seagrass also growing as a different zonation pattern. Because of climate change and global warming, and some species may slowly degrade, some species may grow more. So the seagrass bed the diversity may reduce, which means the young dugongs that wants to eat the softest seagrass may have difficulties in future because the other seagrass may grow faster than this. So that's why we also have to maintain the biodiversity. And I would like to coming back to the intensity that happened in the parkway because of man-made activities and fishery activities. That is more important to address now than focusing on global warming and other things. So that is also important. We need actually have to establish a permanent monitoring transact both in India and Sri Lanka, so that we have to study those study sites regularly to understand the changes in seagrass bed, changes in dugong population, and that will help us to better conserve the ecosystem as species as well.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Balaji. Would there be a message that you would like to share with the Haritha TV and the Sri Lankan audience, maybe to inspire them or to share with them some thoughts that you'd like as well?
Yes, I would like to invite the young people to get on board, because there are so much opportunities available. For example, like 10 years, 20 years before, the biologists don't have much job opportunity. The more important is to sustain our own income, at the same time to contribute towards the places where we live. So the restoration biologist, or in the blue carbon restoration, it's mangroves, seagrass, or any carbon restoration needs experts. So they can build the skills and improve their knowledge on the local ecosystem, be aware of what is happening around them in terms of nature conservation, sustainability, and what is they are going to take to the next generation. So please come on board and learn more things about your nature, and let us protect together, and it is important for long-term sustainability.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much, Dr. Balaji, for being here today in Sri Lanka. So today we discussed a lot about the incredible species, the empathetic species, the dugongs, as well as their marine habitats, and how important this vulnerable ecosystem and the species is to both India and to Sri Lanka, and the incredible importance of how Sri Lankan conservation and even working on sustainable agriculture, all of these aspects, how these things tie into this very sensitive ecosystem and the protection of it. So thank you very much for sharing these insights, and thank you very much for joining us.